Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Semajical Reviews. But we're heading back down to South Park for this next review for season 2. That's right. So this 18 episode season first aired on Comedy Central between 1998 and 1999. And it was during this season that the show found its footing, so to speak. But before we can get into the season itself, let's first talk about the April Fool's special, Terrence and Philip, Not Without My Anus. Now, this episode was done as an April Fool's joke because it was April Fool's Day when it aired originally. So instead of airing the resolution to the Cartman's dad cliffhanger, as a joke, Matt and Trey decided to air a half-hour-long Terrence and Philip episode, which sees Terrence being accused of murder and Philip acting as his lawyer, and to the dismay of Scott the Dick, who is first introduced to us in this episode, they get away with it. And that then sparks off the adventure to Iraq to find Terrence's daughter, Sally. Now, this episode's title and plot are a parody of the film Not Without My Daughter, in which a father travels to Iraq to rescue his kidnapped daughter. For an April Fool's joke, it's pretty harmless, but fans didn't react too well to it initially. But it's still a good episode in its own right. Cartman's mum is still a dirty SLUT. This is the resolution to the cliffhanger from the end of season 1, in which Mephisto is shot when he's about to reveal the truth of who Cartman's father is. And then it becomes a whodunit mystery, leaving that resolution on the back burner. Much to Cartman's dismay, because he can't stand things being unfinished, as we learn in this episode. So, and the boys end up having to play doctors, literally, in a hospital when they become short-staffed during a blizzard. And America's Most Wanted want to make a biopic of the shooting. And the production of that gets shut down pretty quickly due to the blizzard. Another great episode in its own right, especially the reveal of who Cartman's father is at the end of the episode, or so we believe it to be, for 12 long seasons at this point. It turns out, shock horror, spoiler alert, that Cartman's mum is his dad. Because she's a hermaphrodite. Okay. Another good episode in its own right, despite its weird twist ending. Chicken Lover is the next episode for review, and, well, in this episode we learn that some sick weirdo is going round making love to chickens. Well, there's a subplot of the kids having to choose a book from the Booktastic Bus to read and review in class, in a book report. And, well, And the other subplot of Officer Barbrady being illiterate and needing to learn to read. So with two subplots going on at the same time, Officer Barbrady deputizes Cartman of all people to help him uphold the law in the town while he's off learning how to read. And just want to put that out there. For a police officer, not being able to read is a huge problem. Because you're expected to read clues to try and catch the culprit. And also, he mistakes a bank for a drive-through at a restaurant. So yeah, this episode does a good job at painting Officer Barbrady as an idiot. And just, wow. Okay. That's all I can say to that. And when it turns out that the culprit is the bookmobile driver, wow. Well, another twist. Okay. So we've had two good twists in the season, in this early part of the season alone. That's another good episode, by the way. I'll recommend it. Moving on now to Ike's Wee Wee, or Ike's Briss, if you prefer to call it that. Very straightforward plot. Ike's circumcision party is coming up. They call it a bris. And, well, the boys read too much into it and think they're going to do the opposite of, well, basically they think they're going to blank Ike's blank. And really all they're going to do is snip it. So, out of fear that they're going to take Ike's boyhood away, they send him to Nebraska, or Kyle does. Which then leads Gerald and Sheila to go and find him. After a dummy Ike doll Kyle made out of bones from the butcher's shop gets eaten by a dog. And this is where we learn to no one's surprise in this world that Ike is Canadian. As if we couldn't tell by, well, his design. He's designed like all the other Canadians in the show. So this is just a funny episode about jumping to conclusions and how that can lead you into trouble. So you should never do that, by the way. Okay. Conjoined fetus lady. In this episode, the school dodgeball team, coached by Chef, goes to 3 separate championship games and wins every single one of them. So, first come the regional championships, which they win pretty easily, and they have Pip as a secret weapon. All they have to do is pee him off about being French, even though he's not French, he's British. What's with all this hate with Pip then? I mean, and of course the main plot of this is learning that the school nurse has a dead fetus attached to the side of her head. And the town make a big fuss of her for this, praising her as a goddess, even though she just wants to be treated like every other person in the town treats each other. So, okay, so the state championships are next for the boys to attend, and their opponents, the Washington team, forfeit, making South Park the winners by default. Oh dear. But then the World Championship in China is the most brutal game they've ever attended, and they come back several members down and one dead. Another good episode, I know. But how does the South Park school bus manage to drive all the way to China when, from the American perspective, that's on the other side of the world to them? Is it the magic school bus in disguise? Okay. Yes, Miss Crabtree is Miss Frizzle. We got a conspiracy theory on our hands here. Okay. Oh dear. Joking aside, moving on to the next episode up for review, City on the Edge of Forever. No, it's not. It's actually the Mexican staring frog of southern Sri Lanka. Or you could call it Jimbo and Ned for short. Because this episode is actually about lies. The boys fake footage with a plastic frog of a staring frog that kills you with one stare. After Jimbo and Ned get them into trouble by lying about the Vietnam War being a camp and fairground with singing birds, which could be true because birds do fly in the skies of every country, galloping steeds. They could have had horses in the Vietnam War as well, so don't be so quick to debunk that. Log rides. Right, no, they would not have had time to have fun at fun fairs when they were busy fighting in a war. And also during this, Uncle Jimbo and the boys go on, after Ned goes catatonic, to Jesus and Pals. And Jimbo is told to lie about Stan being a druggie and worshipping the devil by Jesus' producer. And when Jesus learns of this, he sends the producer to hell. And rightly so. Okay. Defamation of character. The biggest load of disinformation anyone can give. So, it's a funny episode in its own right, and you should give it a watch if you haven't already. City on the Edge of Forever, or Flashbacks if you prefer to call it, is just this for an episode. The kids are stuck on their school bus, which is on the edge of a cliff, while Miss Crabtree goes to find help, and they start having flashbacks to episodes of yesteryear, except everything goes wrong and ends with them eating ice creams. But in the end, this all turns out to be a dream the kids are having. And to add the cherry to the sundae, so to speak, Cartman and his mum share breakfast of ice cream and beetles. And this turns out to be a dream within a dream that Stan's having. So the double ending of it was all just a dream. That old tired cliche. twice in one episode. Because they even flash back to an earlier point in the same episode. So, and to an event that never actually took place on screen. So, how did it happen? But it's a fun way of making fun of these type of episodes, which are themselves a trope. So, Summer Sucks is the next episode, and, well, it's the summer vacation. It's just started, the school year's over, but there's one problem. Mr. Garrison won't let the kids leave class until he gets Mr. Hat back, because Mr. Hat has gone missing. And Mr. Garrison thinks it's part of a prank devised by the kids. Only after they escape behind his back, he ends up going to great lengths to get Mr. Hat back. But through this episode, we don't actually see Mr. Hat again until later on in the season. And the episode has a crossover with Dr. Katz, professional therapist. So Jonathan Katz makes an appearance. Although, we do see Mr. Hat in one scene in this episode. In a men's locker room of all places. Yeah, just keep that creepy puppet away from me, okay? I don't want him anywhere near me. Okay. um, it's a fun episode, though, about how long and drawn out and painfully hot the summer is. Well, also depicting a disastrous 4th of July with a giant ash snake. Okay, next up is Chef's Chocolate Salty Balls. Hollywood is in town for the first annual South Park Film Festival. And during this, Chef introduces his new confectionaries to the world, which are just little chocolate balls that are salty instead of sugary, and tries to sell them to the rich Hollywood consumers who would rather have tofu and celery. The problem here for Mr. Hanky is he's getting terminally ill from all this food that is being flushed down into his system, and he's actually dying from it. It's toxic to him. This episode, obviously, this introduces us to the song Chocolate Salty Balls. Much like Summer Sucks introduces us to the simultaneous song in its briefest form. But this is a funny episode all about the damage Hollywood consumers can actually cause if they come to a small town. So yeah, don't hold a film festival in your town if you can't handle it. Clubhouse, no, chickenpox. Now it's a self-explanatory spot. The boys are sent over to slumber with Kenny to catch chickenpox from him. Now this works too well for every other kid in the class, except for Kyle, who doesn't seem to be catching it. Until the end of the episode when he does catch it. So and now it paints chickenpox as a dangerous illness as a more dangerous illness as you get older. But it's pretty normal for a young child to have it. So don't worry, it's nothing to be worried about. So, another good episode in its own right, but it really over exaggerates having chicken pox. So, but then in South Park, they exaggerate everything. So, Roger Ebert should lay off the fatty foods is the next episode up for review. And in this episode, after a visit to the planetarium, multiple visits to the planetarium, the boys start noticing signs of brainwashing around town. So they go to investigate what's going on with the Star Machine. And this is after a brainwashed kid from the planetarium sneaks aboard the South Park school bus on the way back from their original visit. And the kids are brainwashed into volunteering at the planetarium. As are a lot of adults, actually. And it's Cartman who saves the day. Because his subplot is that he's won the Cheesy Puff contest to be in their latest commercial. And he's angry because everyone's missed it. But it's only like a 5 second, it's only like a brief second thing where he says lame and that's it. Pretty lame if you ask me, Cartman. Anyway, it's still a good episode, and it's based off an old Star Trek episode that it parodies, the episode called Dagger of the Mind. Anyway, Clubhouses is next, and, well, Stan and Kyle build a clubhouse to hang out with Wendy and Bebe in, after Wendy pressures him to build one. And seeing this, Cartman is then inspired to build a much bigger and better one than they have. When, with Kenny helping, they build the Ewok Village 2000 Dream Clubhouse. And the first two guests they have over are two teenage girls. And before long he has an out-of-hand party on his hands. And the boys eventually learn that having a clubhouse or clubhouses isn't all it's cracked up to be, because there's also the subplot of divorce. Stan's parents break up, and his mum gets with another bloke named Roy. And no, divorce doesn't work as fast as it is depicted in this episode. Just to put that out there, it's a long and drawn-out process that has to have both sides of the marriage agreeing on the divorce and the terms. You have to go through court proceedings to finalise it. It's not just a simple case of saying you're divorced and that's it. So, they've really just split up. And this would be the first of many times we see this happening with them. So, Cow Days is the next episode. Oh, wait. Clubhouses is still a good episode. Cow Days is the next episode. And in this episode, a couple from outside town comes to join in the festivities of this rodeo and fun fair The Americans call it a carnival. We Brits call it a fun fair. I'm going to use the British term, so sue me. Don't do that. And during which they actually unveil this 60-foot tall wooden statue of a cow with a clock in it as a memorial to the cows. And the most bizarre of cults crops up in this episode. A bovine cult. Led by cows themselves. Okay, now I'm not going to go any further with the synopsis of this episode. It is a good one. And you should go and watch it, in all fairness. Chef Aid. Now, in this episode, Chef is sued over one of his songs being stolen by the record company that stole it and credited it to Alanis Morissette for making a cover version. And he is ordered to pay $2 million in damages to the record company. And in 24 hours, otherwise he faces 4 years in jail. So what does he do? He goes and prostitutes himself to every woman in town, while the boys go and help him with all the rock stars he knows and he has connections with. Needless to say, they don't raise nearly enough money. And because it was money Chef owed to the record company, they tried to claim it. Chef is taken to jail because he couldn't raise the money. So the boys put on a Chef Aid benefit concert to raise the money. All the while, Chef actually is joined by Mr. Garrison in the jailhouse, and they are busted out by a returning Mr. Hat. Mr. Hat, by the way, who had been missing since Summer Sucks, returns out of the blue here to a crazy Mr. Garrison. And that's why Mr. Garrison ends up in jail. And this actually shows how incompetent Officer Bar Brady is as a policeman as well. Because instead of questioning why Mr. Garrison's out of his cell and putting him back in, he just lets him stay out. But all this hysterics over a twig? Come on, dude. Was it worth it? Okay. Yeah, I forgot Mr. Twig was his new puppy he introduces to at the end of Summer Sucks. He gets snapped in half in this episode, as well as almost boiled and, you know. But the question is, how did he get into the saucepan without Mr. Garrison putting him there and turning it on? Nah. And how did Mr. Hat reach the gas pedal in the car? Anyway, we get into our second Halloween special the show ever did, Spooky Fish, and it's done in Spooky Vision. In this episode, we have the plot of an evil parallel universe leaking into this universe with Stan's evil goldfish killing people and making Stan look like the murderer at first. But then we have an evil Cartman with a beard followed through by an evil Stan and Kyle from the same universe. But this Cartman turns out to be a nice guy until it's revealed in a not-so-shocking plot twist, shock horror, spoiler alert, that it was just Cartman playing a joke on them. You dick, Cartman, you absolute first-class twat. Okay. But it's still a good episode. Then the next Christmas special to have ever come from the show, Merry Christmas Charlie Manson, it plays out like a Peanuts holiday special. It's a parody, in name only, of Merry Christmas Charlie Brown, as they learn over the Christmas break now. Stan is denied permission by his parents to visit Cartman's grandma for the Christmas weekend, while all the other guys get to go. So he sneaks out after being sent to his room and goes anyway. And this is where they learn that Charles Manson has escaped from Nebraska State Prison, along with Cartman's Uncle Howard, and the adventure ensues from that point on after they break into the Cartman family residence. And it culminates in the boys going to see someone dressed as Mr. Hankey in the shopping mall in Nebraska. Because in this universe, there's only one shopping mall in the whole state of Nebraska. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not how it actually works. But, and when it's revealed that this is a guy in a costume, a riot breaks out. And don't worry though, because the kids find themselves safe with Charlie Manson, despite being a notorious mass murderer. He gives himself up in the end and goes back to prison, where he feels he deserves he belongs. Although in real life, Charlie Manson didn't actually feel like he deserved to be in prison. Dude, well, he's dead now. But when he was alive, dude, you killed a bunch of people through proxies. Of course you deserve to be in freaking prison. And you deserve even more to be dead. Sorry, but Charlie Manson, you suck. So, um... a good episode in its own right. And now we move on to the last two episodes of the season, guys. Gnomes. In this episode, we are introduced to the Underpants Gnomes for the first time. Now, at first, we're led to believe that Tweak is just making this story up as a cover story and scapegoat for losing his underwear. And that's what everybody in the episode believes, until the boys are tasked to stay with him in a study group to write a report on current events that are happening in the town to save Mr. Garrison's ass from being fired. But they end up meeting the Underpants Gnomes who teach them the proper values of corporations, and they give the opposite report from the one Tweak's dad wrote. And because of this, that means Mr. Garrison is out of a job. Apparently. It's South Park we're talking about. Mr. Garrison was nowhere near out of a job. So yeah, there you go. On to the season finale, Prehistoric Iceman. Now, in this episode, Stan and Kyle are fighting over what name to give a man they found encased in ice down a snowy abyss. A man from 1996, which everyone calls prehistoric. Dude, the episode came out in 1999. That was only 3 years before it. And as such, it's set pretty much in the same time it came out. 1996 is not prehistoric times. The man's name is Larry, and he went missing 3 years ago, where he got trapped in ice and they sent out a search party, but they couldn't find him. And in the end, after trying to help him flee the town because he doesn't fit in anymore, the boys learn the importance of friendship all over again after making Cartman their best friend. And realizing how much he sucks as a best friend. It's Cartman. Of course he sucks as a friend, let alone a best friend. A great way to end off the season, and a great season overall. Now, that episode I've just reviewed was my jumping on point for the whole series. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. There will be another episode soon, but until then, thanks for watching and have a Semajical time. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Semajical Reviews. Now, you might remember, in the previous episode from this, I gave you my review of the entire second season of South Park. So I thought I'd follow that up with a review of the second season of America's longest running animated sitcom. Longest running animated primetime sitcom, that is. That's right, your favourite yellow family are back. It's The Simpsons, and season 2 of The Simpsons ran between 1990 and 1991 for 22 episodes. In which the show started to take off and became the show in its classic years it rightfully became. Now, as there are 22 episodes to go through reviewing, I'm not sure if I'm going to remember that many episodes off the top of my head, synopsisizing them. So, I think I should just give you a rundown of some of my favourite episodes in this season, rather than all of them. Because without looking at an episode list, I can't remember what order they go in. So, the first notable episode of this season is also its premiere, Bart Gets an F. In which Bart is in danger of failing the 4th grade if he doesn't shape up and get a better grade in his history exam, which he just barely manages to do in the end after getting an F. and he demonstrates applied knowledge. Now, this is a favourite of me and quite a lot of other Simpsons fans, and for the exact reasons I've just gone through. So, okay. The next episode in this season that I consider worthy of note is Bart gets hit by a car. Now, in this episode, Mr. Burns runs Bart over, so the Simpsons take him to court to try and get a huge cash settlement. They want $1 million, but Mr. Burns only offers them 100. And what kind of medical bill in the US is only going to cost $100? Mr. Burns, you ran the kid over. And you show no empathy whatsoever. Now, what makes this episode unique is it's the only one to have a title card. The only one outside of the Treehouse of Horror to have a title card. Now, speaking of that, Treehouse of Horror is the next episode I consider worthy of note, being their first Halloween special. And the 3 stories they chose to tell in this particular Treehouse of Horror: Hungry Are the Damned is a parody of the Twilight Zone episode To Serve Man, in which the Simpsons are abducted by aliens and jump to the conclusion that the aliens want to eat them, when in fact they're just catering to them. Bad Dream House is a parody of haunted house movies, where the Simpsons move into the Amityville house. And that's not all. It also draws inspiration from other haunted house movies such as The Poltergeist. And the final segment, The Raven, is just a Simpsons retelling in parody form of Edgar Allan Poe's short story, The Raven. And for the first 3 Halloween segments, well, they are pretty good. But they're not some of the best. So, and ignore the warning that the show may be scary for young viewers, because the show itself, by a large chunk of its audience, is considered a family show. The next episode worthy of note in this season is 3 Men and a Comic Book. Now, Bart and Lisa attend a comic book convention in Springfield, during which Bart is shown a copy of the first ever issue of Radioactive Man comic and wants it. The only problem is, the comic book guy is charging $100 for it. So, he first tries to convince Homer to give him the money, but can't. Tries getting a part-time job, but doesn't make enough money. He only makes 50 cents off it. In the end, Bart, Milhouse and Nelton put all their monies together, and Martin put all their monies together, $105 overall, to buy the comic. And because they can't share it, it ends up getting torn to pieces. So, yeah, there you go. And that was the season finale. Okay, now, guys, I'm not done yet. Because the next episode I consider worthy of note from this season, believe it or not, is Bart versus Thanksgiving. It's a Thanksgiving episode in which Bart accidentally, or maybe purposely, destroys Lisa's centerpiece that she worked forever on to present to the family. And because he is punished with being sent to his room, he runs away. And because they're trying to starve an apology out of him as well, he ends up being taken to a homeless shelter by two homeless guys, where he is then fed. And he laughs in their faces on the news, saying he didn't apologise, which, spoilers, he didn't. But he does at the end. Okay. So... now, guys, it's nearly time to close the lid on this episode, but there's one more noteworthy episode that I think is at the top of the list for my personal favourites this season. And that episode is Homer versus Lisa and the Eighth Commandment. In this episode, Homer steals cable. And Lisa thinks the family's going to go to hell because they stole cable. Now, I take it you're aware of what the Ten Commandments are. For those of you who are religious fanatics, that is. For those who aren't, you might still be aware of them. The commandment the episode refers to is "Thou shalt not steal," as if I haven't told you that already by the synopsis of the episode. Okay. So guys, I think that's nearly half the season I've said is noteworthy. Because there are 22 episodes in this season, I couldn't give you brief synopsis of every single one. Mainly for the reason that I wouldn't be able to remember all the episode titles in the order they aired, without a list or guide. So, what do you think of those episodes? Are some of them your personal favourites? Let me know in the comments below, please. Overall, the season is a good season. And it's definitely worth a watch. So, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. 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 And have us a magical time. 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 Thanks for watching. Hello there, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to anyone who's new, and welcome back to Semajical Reviews, the review show where I review everything from films to TV shows to books to toys. You know, although the last two things have had one review each, I mainly focus on film and TV. And we're heading into the world of school dramas for this next review. How many of you from out here in Great Britain know of Waterloo Road? Now you might be thinking, yes, I know Waterloo Road, James, it's recently just come onto TV. I'll correct you there, it's recently come back to TV. The original series of Waterloo Road ran between 2006 and 2015 for 10 series, and it's about the day-to-day lives of the staff and pupils of the titular fictional comprehensive school in Rochdale, Manchester. And for a teen drama, you can expect all the usual storylines and tropes to occur for this. Pardon me. Now, the first series aired in 2006, and for 8 episodes, introducing us to our main characters. Now, the teachers. Let's go over them first, shall we? The teachers are Jack Rimmer, who stands in as headmaster after their headmaster current at the time is sectioned for, well, let's be kind here, psychiatric problems. And he was the history teacher / deputy head, I guess. Andrew Treneman, the man he brings in as his deputy to try and help change the lives of his pupils. And then, besides them, we also have the head of pastoral care, Kim Campbell. But James, do I hear you correcting me? She's the headmistress. Yeah, she is now, but she started out as the head of pastoral care, so work with me here on this. She is there to help the kids out with pastoral problems, like problems at home or how well they're doing at school. The head of pastoral care does it all. Steph Haydock is the head of their modern languages labs for French, as their French teacher. And in the early series, she actually has a bit of a thing for Jack. And then we have Izzy Redpath, who's one of the English teachers at Waterloo Road, and she's mother to 2 of the school's pupils, which we'll get to in a bit. But then we have Tom Clarkson, who's also another one of the school's English teachers. And early in the series, he marries fellow English teacher Lorna Dickey. Then she becomes Lorna Clarkson, and things start to fall apart for them pretty quickly. Then we have Estelle, who's the secretary to Jack Rimmer. They're in the main office. The last of the teachers that I shouldn't forget to mention is Grantley Budgeon, who is this cynical teacher who also works in the English department as obviously an English teacher. And he likes to tell the pupils how stupid they are. mainly because he's just given up on life in general at this point. He's been working there 25 years. Yeah, that would sort of harden him. Now, the other adults, other adults that play integral roles in the series. No, there's only one. From the early days of the show, and that would be Clarence Charles, the father of another one of Waterloo Road's pupils, who we'll get to in a bit. He works as a limousine driver, a chauffeur for the early season, or should I say, for the first episode of the whole series in general. Because one of the storylines is a dangerous driving storyline that kind of overarches or overarches the whole series. And I also forgot to mention, no, we'll get to that in series 2 because this is a series 1 review. So, who are the pupils who serve as main characters in this series of Waterloo Road? Well, first of all, we have the Granger siblings, Chloe and Mika, the daughters of Izzy Redpath. Their father, Jimmy, also is an adult who plays kind of an integral role in the early series, in this one. Oh, I forgot to mention about him, but the less said about him, the better, really. He's a douchebag. So, Chloe and Mika Granger, sisters, daughters of Izzy Redpath, and polar opposites in the way that they act. And Chloe doesn't want Jimmy around, but Mika does. Unable to see that he's a waste of space. And she rebels against everything her mum says Chloe does. Including what is said against her relationship with her boyfriend, Dante Charles. Now, the two actually, throughout the season, are caught up in this whole dangerous driving thing because it kills one of their classmates, Adam Dearden. His sister Yaz plays an integral role in these earlier episodes. Being the sister of the boy who was killed in a tragic car accident. And then we have Chloe's best friend Holly, who spends most of the series in a coma after the accident. And then, of course, we have Lewis Seddon, who plays a main role in this series. After all, there's a whole sexual harassment storyline involving him and the aforementioned Kim Campbell. And Jack has a storyline with a gobby young girl named Zoe, who is pregnant with a kid who she claims is his. Turns out that it isn't, because Craig Harris, her boyfriend, is the real father. Yeah, so these type of storylines happen in teen dramas all the time, and characters are always swapped out for new ones as the actors like to leave and pursue other careers or other, that sort of thing, like other roles. But for the most part, it is difficult to explain without going over the major storylines for spoiler reasons. But now, what do I think of Series 1? As a first series of a drama show, it is pretty good. Of course, as a first series, they gave it 8 episodes to see if it could find its footing, and it did. It took off. And I will get to reviewing the other series later down the line, guys. But that won't be what I'll be reviewing next. As a matter of fact, what I'll be reviewing next is a surprise to even me, because I don't know yet. So you have to wait till I've decided. So that's it for this episode though. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Until next time, thanks for watching and have a Semajical time. Hi guys, and welcome back to Semajical Reviews, the show where I review mainly films and episodes of TV shows and seasons of them and stuff, but there'll be occasional toy reviews here as well, and books. But it's a TV series I'm going to be reviewing in this episode. But for those of you who are tuned in to Kids Month, you might have already seen an episode of this particular series being reviewed. Well, I'm going to do it again anyway for those who might have missed that episode of Kids Month. And for those who might be purely nostalgic, Tots TV. Now, don't worry for those who may not be aware of this show, because I'm about to actually explain to you what it's about. Released on CITV by Ragdoll Productions between 1993 and 1998, Tots TV follows the adventures of three top puppets named Tilly, Tom and Tiny, who venture out into the real world with the aid of a magic rucksack, which they call obviously their magic bag. And they have met such creatures as camels and dogs and giraffes. I think there was one where they actually saw a giraffe. And they've gone on such other adventures such as to the dentist, off to America, the North Pole, and even out of the seven seas. Now, the actual series itself, in its regular 15-minute format, ran for 276 episodes in the 5 years it was actually on TV. As I said, it was produced by Ragdoll Productions. And as for which region of the ITV network it broadcast on, well, there were two of them actually. It started out, I think, as a Carlton series and then switched to Central. So now, and it also teaches young kids how to speak French, well, our version does anyway. Here in the UK, Tilly is a French-speaking girl with red hair in a purple dress. She plays a magical flute. Tom is a, well, blue-haired boy with brown skin. And he wears green dungarees and a yellow knitted sweatshirt. And he wears glasses. And Tiny is a young boy with green hair, with a green cardigan, red shorts. And he wears their magic bag. Now, they have a donkey in a stable, and there seems to be this little dog there they don't even seem to know about, called Boo. Furry Boo. Now, some of my favourite episodes of this series are Bike Ride. This is where Tiny takes a young boy's trike for a joyride and ends up crashing in the hedges. The birthday surprise, or baby, is where the tots actually meet or go see a newborn baby. They see a young boy dressed smart for the baby's party, and he's not happy about it. Because he has to keep himself clean and tidy. And he gets into trouble for waking the baby. And for their actual magical adventures into the real world, another favourite of mine would be at the beach, which is where the tots go to the beach and try to have fun in the sand, and well, I think you know what happens if you've seen the episode. For those who haven't, a lady's ice cream gets splashed with sand and she thinks one of her children did it. Now, of course, other than their adventures outside, they do have episodes where they stay home. And those activities would involve them usually reading a homemade storybook that one tot's made to the other two. And also there's one that involves Tilly and Tiny playing with a ball while Tom's doing household chores, only for hijinks to ensue. And also they also have episodes where a gardener named Jack comes in and sets activities up for real world tots to come and have fun doing. Now, the tots live in this secret hideaway cottage in a wood. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. And there's something that I don't think I mentioned in the Kids Month episode that I'm going to mention here. The actual Tots house is still standing, the actual set for it, in Warwickshire. So you can go and see the house in that wood. It's old and dilapidated now. Anyway, this was one of my favourite shows growing up as a kid. I was about 5 when it started. And the magical thing is, I've not repeated what I said in the last review. Okay! The Tots magic is working. Now, this episode ended up getting made because I originally actually couldn't remember if I'd done an episode for another review show on this or not. Turns out that I had. Anyway, So it's always going to hold a special place in my heart for nostalgia. What about yours, guys? Do any of you remember watching this as kids? And if so, is it one of your favourite shows from your childhoods? Let me know in the comments below. That's it for this episode. There can be only one next time, as Highlander is up for review. Until then, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a magical time. And shh, it's a secret. There can be only one! Hey guys, welcome back to Semajical Reviews, the show where I review anything from films to toys. And mainly films and TV shows. Case in point, it's a film I'm going to be reviewing here today, or tonight, whenever you watch this. We go back to 1986 for this one. It's, of course, Highlander, the classic 1986 sci-fi fantasy film about Connor MacLeod, an immortal Scottish swordsman who has lived for over 4.5 centuries by the time the film takes place. And he is in a battle against others of his kind to win the prize. Now, throughout flashbacks in the film, we learn that he suffered his violent first death and became immortal in 1536. And ran out of his village of Glenfinnan for being in league with the devil. And this was when he met, well, shortly after this is when he met Ramirez, played by Sean Connery. Now, Christopher Lambert steps into the role of Connor MacLeod. Now, here is where it gets interesting because of the casting. But Christopher Lambert was actually a Frenchman, and he was playing a Scot. Sean Connery was an actual Scot, and he was playing an Egyptian with a Spanish name. And it's through Ramirez that he learns of his immortality, and that he can only die when his head is cut from his body. And of course this must be done by another one of his own kind. So that makes being friends with immortals hella hard, don't you think? Because if you are one of them, they could turn around and benedict you by chopping your head off. Yeah, so... And by Benedict, I mean be a Benedict Arnold and betray you. Now, no, don't worry, I am aware of who Benedict Arnold is, or was. I'm just comparing these moments in the film to him. Because this isn't about history, okay? This is about reviewing a film. So the film takes place in 1980s New York, where Connor MacLeod, now under the identity or the alias of Russell Nash, runs an antique shop and has settled quietly into life, blending in to his surroundings as a New Yorker. But the Kurgan, his old enemy from the past, is after him. And this brings Ramirez back into play to protect him. Now, of course, through flashbacks, we also learn Connor MacLeod's history with his wife, Heather. And also being married to a mortal, or being married, well, if you're immortal, must be hella hard, because if your spouse is mortal, then they will grow old and pass away, while you have to keep living. But if you marry if they marry another immortal, now that is a huge commitment, because you'll have to fight them in battle, and you may have to take their head to prevent them from taking yours. Oh dear. The ultimate betrayal, I think, of your marriage vows. Okay. And they're not allowed to have children because of their dangerous lifestyle. Well, they cannot have children, so... meaning they can't give natural birth. Yeah, we'll get to that later down the line. It's a bit confusing how they say that. But, you know... I'm not going to tell you how the film ends, in case you haven't seen it yet. But my opinion of the film is, it is a great film. One of my favourites of the genre. And it paved the way for other films about immortals to start popping up. So... case in point, there were 4 more Highlander films. We'll get to reviewing those later down the line, not all in the same episode. But if I've interested you in seeing the film, let me know in the comments below. If you've seen it, let me know what you thought in the comments. And now, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and have a Semajical time. This was episode 41! Hi guys, welcome back to Movie Dome. where it's time to get on with a review of another YouTuber's channel. Now, I think I've done something quite interesting with this one. This is the 42nd episode of the show, and I'm reviewing the channel of Aaron Lomas. AKA 42. He's a British YouTuber who hails from the Lancashire area. He dedicates his channel to posting videos that give us facts about things. So it's an educational channel. He gives us videos such as The Ghost Director, which explores the pseudonym of Alan Smithy, and it gives us a true story of the Amityville Horror. And he also has a series on the channel called Random Interesting Facts, or RIF. There's 100 episodes of just random interesting facts. What else would it be? And he has a series called Casual Thursdays, where every Thursday he'd come on casually and give us a topic. And some of these topics might be something along the lines of race walking, basically a pedestrian race. Yeah, there you go. And the largest family in the world with over 100 members, or 93 members. So that sort of thing. His whole channel is about telling us absolute true facts about things. Now, I've been a follower of the channel since I was on my old channel. And if I remember rightly, the first video of his I actually ever saw was I think it was his video on rip-offs, actually. I can't exactly remember which was the first video of his I came across. But I still follow his channel to this day, and I'm still a big fan of it. So, Aaron, A-R-R-A-N, if you're watching this, please let me know in the comments below, and keep up the good work. If you enjoyed this video, guys, please like, comment, share and subscribe. I hope you're gonna like what I'm gonna be reviewing next. Why don't I make that another toy review? So I'll see you then. Until then though, guys, thanks for watching. And have us a magical time. Please like, comment, share and subscribe.
Go!
Hey guys, and welcome back to Semajical Reviews. And it's time for another action figure review. This is for the Jason Voorhees Toony Terrors action figure. Now, what these figures actually are horror characters made to look like cartoon characters. As you can see, he's made in the style that you would see him in if he appeared in a Saturday morning cartoon. And yes, I have used him as a villain in the first episode of my Scooby-Doo fan series, Scooby-Doo Murder Mysteries. Now, as you can see, he's got everything here that makes him Jason. His hockey mask, his torn green jacket, and most importantly of all, his machete. He's from the Friday the 13th series of films, and most famously played by the actor Kane Hodder in those films. Now, this is an action figure also made by the NECA Toy Company. And yes, this is the second episode in which I've decided to review a toy. You can pick these up in all good shops that sell toys, including HMV, which is where I picked this fella up. He will be appearing in more series, so you don't need to worry about any longer waits. And well, he's an excellent action figure. He's very well made. And he's one of my favourites. So that's it, guys, for this episode of Semajical Reviews. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, share and subscribe, or Jason's gonna come after you. No, he's not really. Until the next video, thanks for watching and have a Semajical time.